The early morning chill clung to the bleachers as the suburban high school stadium slowly came alive with sounds of sneakers pounding the track and the sharp whistles of Coach Reynolds. The sun was just beginning to peek over the horizon, casting long shadows across the synthetic lanes, each marked meticulously with white lines that promised competition and dreams. The air hummed with the restless energy of teenagers stretching, warming up, and exchanging nervous banter. A ritual as familiar as the worn stopwatch hanging around the coach's neck. Coach Reynolds stood near the starting blocks, arms crossed, his weathered face set in a scowl that rarely softened. With decades of experience etched into his posture, he surveyed the group of athletes with a critical eye, noting who was prepared and who was merely going through the motions. To him, this was the crucible where potential was tested and true talent revealed. He didn't have patience for excuses or sentimentality, only results. Among the throng of runners, a ripple of curiosity spread when a small figure appeared at the edge of the track. Lily, barely 13, stepped onto the lanes with a quiet determination that contrasted sharply with the confident swagger of older athletes. Her ponytail bounced as she jogged lightly in place, eyes fixed ahead, her breath forming small clouds in the crisp morning air. She was younger than most, a fact everyone noticed but no one seemed to care about except Coach Reynolds. He stepped forward, his voice cutting through the murmurs like a whip crack. "Hey, kid," he called, his tone blunt and unyielding. "You're too young for this. You don't belong out here with the rest of them." His words hung in the air, heavy with dismissal. The other athletes glanced at Lily, some smirking, others exchanging whispers. The message was clear. She wasn't welcome. Lily's jaw tightened, but she didn't flinch. Instead, she met his gaze steadily, a spark of defiance flickering in her eyes. "I want to try," she said softly, but with enough firmness to carry across the track. The coach's eyes narrowed. He shook his head. "It's not about wanting. This is real competition. You'll just get in the way." The crowd's energy shifted. The unspoken verdict had been passed. Lily was an outsider, a girl with heart but no place among the seasoned runners. She could feel the weight of their doubt settling over her like a stone, but it only made her resolve harden. Without another word, she turned and began her warm-up laps alone, her footsteps light but purposeful. Coach Reynolds watched her for a moment longer before dismissing her with a grunt. "Too young," he muttered again, as if repeating the mantra would make it true. But beneath his gruff exterior, something unsettled him. There was a rawness to Lily's determination that reminded him of his own younger days, before experience had carved lines of cynicism into his face. As the morning stretched on, the team's training kicked into full gear. The runners sprinted, paced, and pushed themselves under the watchful eye of their coach, each lap measured and timed with ruthless precision. Lily kept to the outer lanes, running alone, her breath steady and focused. The other athletes glanced her way occasionally, curiosity mingling with skepticism. When the group gathered for drills, Coach Reynolds addressed them with his usual sharpness. "This isn't a game," he barked. "If you want to make it to regionals, you've got to push harder than you ever have before. No slackers, no exceptions." Lily's heart pounded, not just from exertion but from the challenge laid before her. She was young, yes, but she was not invisible. Every stride was a silent promise, to herself, to the coach, and to anyone who doubted her. She would prove them wrong. Later, as practice wound down and the sun climbed higher, a few teammates approached her cautiously. One, a tall boy named Marcus, nodded in acknowledgement. "You've got guts coming out here," he said, voice low but respectful. Another girl, Sarah, smiled tentatively. "Don't let the coach get you down. He's tough on everyone." Lily returned their smiles, grateful for the small gestures of acceptance. Yet, the path ahead was clear. She had to fight not just the clock, but the skepticism that surrounded her. Coach Reynolds's words echoed relentlessly in her mind, but instead of breaking her, they fueled a quiet fire. That evening, after the stadium lights dimmed and the echoes of footsteps faded, Lily sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, lacing up her running shoes with deliberate care. Her room was modest, walls adorned with posters of famous runners and motivational quotes scribbled in her own handwriting. Outside, the suburban neighborhood was settling into its usual calm, but inside, her mind raced through the possibilities of what lay ahead. Her mother peeked in, offering a tired but encouraging smile. "Don't forget to rest, Lily. You've got school tomorrow." Lily nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "I will, but I'm going to keep training, even if it's just by myself." Her mother's smile deepened, touched by the resolve in her daughter's voice. "I'm proud of you. Just remember, it's okay to ask for help sometimes." Lily hugged her mother briefly before standing and heading to the window. She gazed out at the quiet street, imagining the track under the morning sun, the cheers of the crowd, and the thrill of the race. The doubt wasn't gone, but it was no longer a weight, it was a challenge. The next morning dawned bright and clear. Lily arrived at the track before anyone else, the grass still sparkling with dew. She began her warm-up, every muscle awakening with purpose. The air was cool, filled with the scent of fresh earth and promise. Coach Reynolds arrived, observing from a distance. He saw her steady pace, the way she pushed herself with quiet intensity. Despite his initial dismissal, he couldn't ignore the girl who refused to be sidelined. When practice began, he called out drills and timed sprints, watching Lily fall into rhythm with the group. Some of the older runners exchanged surprised glances. There was something different about her today, a confidence that was growing with each lap. As the sun climbed higher, casting golden light over the track, Lily kept her eyes fixed ahead, the doubts of yesterday melting into determination. The race wasn't just about speed, it was about proving that age and skepticism could be overcome by heart and perseverance. Coach Reynolds's voice cut through the hum once more, this time less sharp, almost grudgingly respectful. "Keep it up, kid. Show me what you've got." Lily's lips curved into a small, fierce smile. She wasn't just here to run. She was here to change the game. Before dawn lit the suburban streets, Lily was already lacing up her worn-out running shoes in the quiet solitude of her bedroom. The house was still asleep, save for the soft creaks of settling wood and the faint hum of the refrigerator. But her mind raced faster than her feet ever could. Outside, the world was cloaked in shadows, but inside, a fierce determination burned steady and bright. Today was another day to push herself further, to run faster, to prove that age was no barrier to greatness. The track became her sanctuary, a place where morning chill wrapped around her like a cloak, and the rhythmic slap of her sneakers against the synthetic surface was a steady heartbeat. Each stride was deliberate, each breath measured. She ran before the sun rose, pacing herself through endless laps, muscles screaming in protest but her spirit unyielding. The early hours belonged to her alone, away from the skeptical glances and whispered doubts of teammates and coaches. On one particularly crisp morning, as the mist curled low over the track, an unexpected figure appeared beside her. Elena, a former school athlete whose own career had been cut short by injury, watched silently from the sidelines before stepping forward. "You're serious about this, aren't you?" she asked, her voice soft but edged with respect. Lily nodded, panting slightly but never slowing. "I have to be." Elena smiled faintly. "I can help. I know what it takes." From that moment, a quiet mentorship blossomed. Elena arrived at the track with the sunrise, offering advice on technique, pacing, and mental focus. She showed Lily how to listen to her body, how to push through pain without breaking, and how to harness the mind's power to overcome physical limits. Together, they mapped out a training plan that stretched Lily's abilities, blending endurance with speed drills and recovery periods that tested her discipline. As days turned into weeks, Lily's improvement was undeniable. Her strides lengthened, her times dropped, and the skepticism that once shadowed her presence began to waver. A few teammates started to notice, some offering tentative nods of acknowledgement during practice. Marcus, once indifferent, now approached with a newfound respect. "You're out here every day, rain or shine. That takes guts." But the path was far from smooth. The relentless training brought moments of exhaustion that left Lily doubled over in gasps, muscles trembling with fatigue. One afternoon, as she pushed through a grueling sprint, a sharp pain stabbed through her side. She stumbled, clutching her ribs, the world tilting dangerously. Fear flickered briefly, the nightmare of injury that could end everything. Elena was immediately at her side, her calm presence steadying Lily's racing heart. "It's a muscle strain," she said, assessing carefully. "You need rest, not more punishment." Reluctantly, Lily accepted the break, frustration gnawing at her resolve. Sitting on the sidelines during practice was a bitter pill, watching others run while she recovered. Yet, even in stillness, she found strength in the support of her mentor and the quiet encouragement of friends like Sarah, who sent her texts and checked in regularly. Coach Reynolds, ever the skeptic, remained distant but observant. His sharp glances followed Lily's progress, a mixture of doubt and grudging acknowledgement. The injury had slowed her momentum, but it hadn't broken her spirit. Slowly, he began to allow her more inclusion in team drills, though his words remained terse. "Don't expect special treatment. You've got to earn your place." Lily met his challenge head-on, adapting her training to focus on technique and recovery. She incorporated stretches and light runs, building back strength without rushing. The injury taught her patience and the importance of listening to her body, lessons that deepened her understanding of the sport beyond raw speed. Behind the scenes, the pressure of the upcoming regional trials loomed like a storm cloud. Rumors and conversations buzzed among the athletes, the stakes higher than ever. Some teammates whispered doubts, questioning Lily's readiness, while others quietly rooted for her, inspired by her relentless dedication. One evening, after a particularly grueling session, Coach Reynolds approached her as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the track. His expression was unreadable, but his voice was softer than usual. "You're making progress, faster than I expected." Lily looked up, surprised by the rare compliment. "Thank you, sir. I'm not done yet." He nodded once, turning away. "Keep it up. Prove me wrong." Those words, simple yet charged with meaning, became a catalyst. Lily doubled down on her efforts, training with renewed vigor and strategic focus. With Elena's guidance and the tentative support of her teammates, she refined her running form, worked on her starts, and learned to pace herself under pressure. The days blurred into a rhythm of early mornings and late afternoons, each marked by sweat, grit, and incremental victories. Lily's confidence grew not just in her speed but in her ability to face adversity head-on. The injury, the doubts, the exhaustion, they had not defeated her. They had shaped her. As the regional trials edged closer, the atmosphere in the team shifted subtly. Whispers of admiration replaced some of the skepticism. Sarah caught Lily's eye one morning and smiled. "You're going to do great. Just keep being you." Lily returned the smile, feeling the weight of those words settle warmly within her. The journey was far from over, but the foundation was laid. A blend of hard work, resilience, and the quiet strength that comes from believing in oneself when others hesitate. Late one afternoon, after the team had dispersed, Lily lingered on the track, her silhouette framed by the golden light. She closed her eyes, recalling the countless steps, the early mornings, the pain and the triumph. This was more than training, it was a transformation. The regional trials were no longer a distant threat but a tangible goal. With each heartbeat sinking to the rhythm of her strides, Lily knew she was ready to face whatever awaited at the starting line. The road ahead was steep, filled with challenges yet unknown, but she carried with her a resolve forged in sweat and perseverance. In the quiet moments before nightfall, Lily whispered a promise to herself, to run not just for victory, but to shatter the barriers others had placed before her, to prove that age was no measure of potential, and that sometimes the fiercest strength comes from the youngest hearts willing to fight. The stadium was alive with a buzz of anticipation, the air thick with the mingled sense of fresh turf and nervous energy. The bleachers brimmed with parents, students, and coaches, their voices rising and falling in a wave of excitement that rippled across the suburban high school track. Flags fluttered in the gentle breeze, and the late afternoon sun cast a warm golden glow over the scene. This was the day, the regional trials where dreams would either bloom or wither under the pressure of the stopwatch. Lily stood at the starting line of the 400-meter dash, her heart pounding a fierce rhythm beneath her ribs. The roar of the crowd was a distant hum compared to the focused thunder of her own pulse. Years of early mornings, relentless training, and quiet defiance had led her to this single moment. She adjusted her stance, fingers grazing the cool metal of the starting blocks, muscles coiled and ready. Coach Reynolds stood nearby, his usual stern expression softened by a flicker of pride. His eyes met hers, and for the first time, the skepticism that had shadowed their interactions was replaced by something akin to respect. "Run your race," he said quietly. "You've earned this." The starter's pistol cracked through the air, sharp and electrifying. Lily exploded forward, every ounce of energy channeling into powerful, fluid strides. The world narrowed to the track beneath her feet, the rhythm of her breath, and the steady beat of her heart. The crowd's cheers blurred into the background as she pushed herself harder than ever before. Lap after lap, Lily maintained her pace, her focus unbreakable. She felt the burn in her legs, the sting of sweat in her eyes, but she refused to yield. Memories of early mornings alone on the track, Elena's steady guidance, and the whispered doubts that once surrounded her drove her onward. This was more than a race, it was a testament to her journey. As she rounded the final curve, the finish line came into sharp focus. The cheers grew louder, a crescendo that seemed to lift her legs higher, her strides longer. With a surge of speed she hadn't known she possessed, Lily crossed the line, collapsing forward as the stopwatch clicked the time. Silence fell for a heartbeat before the stadium erupted. The scoreboard flashed her time, shattering the school's long-standing record. Shock and awe rippled through the crowd. Teammates who had once doubted her rushed forward, their faces alight with admiration and newfound belief. Marcus clapped her on the back, breathless with excitement. "You did it, Lily. You really did it." Coach Reynolds approached, his eyes shining with reluctant pride. "I underestimated you," he admitted, voice low but sincere. "You've got a future ahead of you." Lily's chest swelled, not from the physical exertion but from the weight of what she had achieved. The victory was hers, but it belonged also to every struggle, every moment of doubt overcome. She had proven not just to the world but to herself that age was no barrier to greatness. In the days that followed, the atmosphere around the team shifted. Younger athletes looked on with new hope, inspired by Lily's breakthrough. The culture of the team began to change, embracing perseverance and heart over mere seniority. Coach Reynolds, once a figure of stern authority, took on a more supportive role, offering guidance and encouragement to all. Lily found herself reflecting on the path that had brought her here. The lonely runs before dawn, Elena's mentorship, and the quiet moments of doubt and determination. She understood now that success wasn't a solitary achievement but a mosaic of support, resilience, and courage. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, Lily sat on the bleachers, the cool breeze ruffling her hair. Sarah joined her, sitting quietly beside her. "You changed everything," she said softly. "Not just for you, but for all of us." Lily smiled, the weight of the journey settling into a warm glow. "I just wanted a chance," she replied. "To run, to be seen." Sarah nodded, eyes shining. "You showed us all what that looks like." Lily looked out across the empty track, the place where dreams had been forged and victories claimed. She felt a deep sense of belonging, a community forged in sweat and shared goals. The journey had been long, filled with challenges and doubts, but it had led her to a place of hope and possibility. As the stadium lights flickered on, casting long shadows over the lanes, Lily stood and stretched, ready for whatever came next. The track was no longer just a place to run. It was a place to grow, to inspire, and to lead. With a steady breath, she stepped onto the track once more, the future unfolding before her in endless possibilities.